From outside, the door is pounded, as if it might break. "Come out." The voice is short, threatening. There is no explanation, no hesitation. The old man cannot get up quickly from his chair. His knees do not respond. The cup in his hand falls to the floor. The sound of shattering glass is quieter than the sound of his breath being cut off. "You heard us. You need to leave now." The old man lifts his head. His vision blurs. 3 people stand there. Suits, briefcases, cold faces. "Just a moment." His voice cracks. "Just one photo." There is no answer. Documents are thrown roughly onto the table. Papers scatter everywhere. He sees the line with the old man's name on it. It looks like a story that has already ended. This is illegal occupancy. Today is the final day. To the old man, it does not sound like words. It sounds like time collapsing. In this house, he endured typhoons. He survived snowy winters. He passed through countless nights when no one came looking for him. But today, because of the people standing at the door, he cannot breathe. This place, it isn't just a house. He is not trying to explain. He is trying to hold on. One of them smiles. Only the corner of his mouth lifts. That doesn't matter. Then, outside, the sound of an engine stops. In this neighborhood, it is a sound rarely heard. Low, quiet, like expensive silence. Everyone's gaze moves toward the door. The door opens again. This time, it does not break. It opens carefully. Black shoes come into view. They shine. They stop beside a photo, lying on the floor. No one speaks. A stranger slowly bends down and picks up the photo. In the picture, an old man and a boy wear calm, peaceful expressions, as if nothing bad has ever happened. The man looks at the photo for a long time. He takes a breath. Then he speaks. "Are you saying that this man is being forced out right now?" The air freezes. At the sound of that voice, something drops heavily inside the old man's chest. It is a voice he does not recognize, and yet, it feels strangely familiar. For a brief moment, everyone stands still. The old man takes a slow breath. His heart is still racing. In his ears, the sound of the door being pounded has not faded yet. His name is Henry Walker, but no one has called his name for a very long time. He has lived in this neighborhood for years ago, so many that he no longer remembers exactly how long. Every morning, he wakes up at the same time. He turns his body toward the light coming through the window. He turns on the radio. He lights the stove. He boils water. It is not a day meant to be seen by anyone. It is simply a day meant to be lived. When he was younger, Henry Walker was a carpenter. If a door creaked, if a step felt loose, people in the neighborhood came to him. "Henry, can you take a look at this?" He did not talk much. He took out his tools. He hammered nails. He wiped his hands clean. Money was always discussed. At the very end, now, no one comes looking for him. The phone does not ring. No voice calls his name. And yet, Henry never left his house. Inside, there are things others would call useless. Pieces of wood saved after repairs. A small box with only a few nails left. Work gloves, faded with time. Whenever he tries to throw them away, his hand stops. "Still usable," Henry says quietly, as if to himself. "People call that attachment. You're old enough to let go. It's too big for one person." Henry knows they are not wrong. Still, this place was more than a building to him. Here, no one asked questions. No one asked why he was alone, why he had no family, why he stayed. Henry wanted to live in a place where he did not have to explain himself. One of the people at the door speaks again. "Mr. Walker, we'd like to end this peacefully." The voice is polite, the eyes are not. "The contract has already been finalized." Henry nods, not because he understands, but because he has no strength left to speak. "Just a few days," he says, "or at least, let me move my things." Before he can finish, the man shakes his head. "Today, now." Henry closes his mouth. He is not sure when things went wrong. He does not remember the moment this house stopped being his. He only knows that he stayed, day after day, in the same place. Then, the stranger who has not spoken yet, looks at Henry's hands. Hands thick with calluses, joints worn and rough, hands shaped by work. The man's gaze lingers. Henry notices, and instinctively curls his fingers inward. He feels embarrassed. These hands built many things, but now, they seem unable to protect even one. In this place, where no one truly listens to him, Henry Walker thinks quietly, for the first time. Maybe this really is the end. The thought presses down, slowly, against his chest. No one has pushed him out yet, but no one has said why he should be allowed to stay. The stranger does not continue speaking. He stands there, holding the photo in his hand. Time passes, but no one rushes him. Henry thinks the man will put the photo down, take one quick look, then turn back toward the door, as if nothing happened. But the man does not. He turns the photo, slowly, over. At that moment, Henry stops breathing, without realizing it. The back of the photo, on the faded paper, there is writing pressed in with a pencil. The handwriting is uneven, scratched over more than once, as if written in haste. Henry recognizes the sentence. Instantly, it is his handwriting. This child must survive. The day he wrote those words returns to him, slowly. It was not a rainy day. It was not a snowy day. It was simply one unusually quiet day. Henry first saw the child weeks before that. He learned later that the child's parents had died in a sudden accident. At that time, the child had been wandering the streets for days, with nothing to eat. At first, Henry only meant to let him stay for one night. He thought, by the next day, someone would be found. But the next day came, and then the day after that, and the child had nowhere to go. Henry did not ask the child any questions, not why he was alone, not where he came from, not when he would leave. He simply gave him food in the morning, and helped him wash in the evening. Days became weeks, weeks became months. In the mornings, the child sat beside Henry at the table, and helped wipe the old surface clean. He did not speak much, but inside the house, there was the sound of another person breathing. The photo was taken during that time. It was not a special day. It was not an anniversary. It was simply a day when the two of them were in the same frame. That is why Henry wrote those words on the back of the photo, not for anyone else to see, but as a promise to himself. I will not send this child back to the street. But months later, the grandparents learned of the child's existence. They came with legal papers, and other people. Taking the child was the natural outcome. Henry did not stop them. He knew he could not. The child said nothing. Henry said nothing either. The door closed, and the house became quiet again. After that day, contact was cut off. Henry placed the photo deep inside a drawer. He did not take it out, but he could not throw it away. Now, he returns to the present. Henry looks at the stranger's face. The man still does not put the photo down. Then, in a very low voice, he speaks. Do you remember this handwriting? Henry does not answer. He cannot take his eyes off the photo. The way the man grips it is strangely firm, as if the photo disappeared, he would disappear as well. In that moment, Henry feels an unfamiliar certainty. This man did not come here by accident, and this photo is not a memory. It is time that has returned. No one has spoken the truth yet, but now, a door that cannot be closed again is opening quietly. The brief silence does not last long. The man holding the briefcase clears his throat on purpose. All right, then, let's continue. He gathers the papers again, picking them up from the floor and placing them back on the table. The photo is a personal item. It has nothing to do with the current situation. The stranger does not put the photo down. Instead, his grip tightens. Sir, another man says, this isn't something to get emotional about. Henry bites his lip. This isn't about emotion, he says. It's about living here. It's a place you lived. The man with the briefcase replies immediately, but not anymore. He lifts one sheet of paper and slides it slightly toward Henry. The contract is already finished. Today is the deadline. Henry does not look at the paper. He already knows what it says. Put the photo down. This time, he is speaking directly to the stranger. That has nothing to do with this house. For the first time, the stranger lifts his head. Nothing to do with it. He speaks without taking his eyes off the photo. How long has this man lived here? The question is directed at Henry. Henry hesitates. I'm not exactly sure. I don't really remember. Just roughly. Henry looks down at the floor. Scratches in the wooden boards catch his eye. More than 30 years. A short laugh passes among them. Then you should know better. That this house doesn't belong to you. Henry nods. He has no intention of denying it, but the meaning behind those words cuts him deeply. This is not your place. We gave you enough time. Plenty of it. That's all for today. The man gestures. People standing outside begin to get ready to move. Then, the stranger hands the photo to Henry with both hands. Carefully, please, take this. Henry takes the photo. His hands tremble. This photo is not something to throw away. The stranger speaks to the others. And today, no one is being dragged out of this house. The man with the briefcase stiffens. On what authority do you say that? The stranger does not answer. Instead, he takes out his phone. Even before he presses the call button, all eyes turn toward him. For now, stop the process. He speaks calmly. After that, we can talk again. For a moment, no one speaks. Henry does not understand what is happening. That someone is standing in front of him. For him, that the man is this calm. An unfamiliar unease settles in his chest. This man did not step in on impulse. He looks like someone who came already knowing everything, and that realization only makes Henry more tense. When the stranger takes out his phone, the man with the briefcase steps forward. Wait, there's no need to go that far. His voice stays low, but it moves faster. This is a simple eviction process. There's nothing illegal about it. The stranger does not press the call button. He simply stands there, the phone resting in his hand. Henry looks back and forth between the two men. This is the first time Someone is standing in front of him, because of him. If you continue like this, the man with the briefcase says, things will get complicated. We can call the police. And that won't be good for you either, sir. Henry takes in a small breath. Police. That word has always had a way of making people feel smaller. Then call them. The stranger speaks again, his voice clearer than before. For a moment, the man with the briefcase has no words. What did you say? Call them. You're free to do that. The stranger does not look at Henry. He looks straight at the man in front of him. But before that, there's something we should confirm. He lifts the phone and turns on the screen. From where he stands, Henry briefly sees numbers and names. They do not look like ordinary contacts. Are you planning to begin forced removal? Right here, right now. One of the others shakes his head slightly. Not yet. The man with the briefcase glances at him. We're still before the execution stage. Then all the more reason to stop. The stranger says calmly, if it's not an execution, there's no reason to use force. The air shifts. Henry feels like this conversation belongs to a world of adults he does not understand. And yet, they are talking about his house, about his life. Sir, another man says to Henry, you don't need to rely on what this man is saying. We're acting within the law. Henry looks down at the photo. The boy in the picture is smiling. So is the man he used to be. That smile feels far away now. You said the child stayed here for several months. The stranger asks suddenly. Everyone turns toward him. Henry lifts his head. Yes. During that time, did the child have belongings in this house? Henry thinks for a moment, then nods. One small bag. The man with the briefcase frowns. And what does that have to do with this? It matters. The stranger replies. This house was not just a place to sleep. At least, not to him. He turns slightly toward Henry. Sir, do you intend to step outside right now? Henry cannot answer. He cannot picture where he would go. No, the word is not spoken by Henry. It is spoken by the stranger. He is not leaving this house right now. The man with the briefcase clenches his jaw. Then you'll be responsible. Responsible. The stranger repeats the word once. That's a word I know very well. He raises the phone to his ear. There is still no dial tone, but in that short moment, Henry knows it clearly. This situation has crossed a line it cannot return from. Nothing has happened yet, and yet, something has already begun to move. What waits at the end of that movement, Henry does not know. But one thing is certain, today will not end as just another day. When the stranger holds the phone to his ear, the man with the briefcase steps closer. That's crossing a line. His voice drops lower, but the threat is clearer. If you interfere now, this will be recorded as obstruction. The stranger does not press the call button. He keeps the phone at his ear, standing still, as if he already knows what the other man is going to say. You're free to record it. His voice remains calm. Any attempt to force this man out will also be recorded. The man with the briefcase clenches his jaw. Who are you? The stranger does not answer right away. Instead, he slowly looks around the house. The worn dining table, nail marks left in the wall, an old plant by the window. You lived here with the child. He says it while looking at Henry. Henry nods. For several months. The moment the words leave his mouth, the air inside the house changes. That doesn't matter. The man with the briefcase says quickly. This is a matter of legal ownership. The stranger looks at him. This time, directly. It does matter. He speaks slowly, clearly. This house was not just an address, not to him. A radio crackles outside. Are we clear to enter? The man with the briefcase hesitates, then nods. Hold for now. He turns back to the stranger. If you step aside now, this can still end quietly. The stranger steps forward, placing himself in front of Henry. It is an unmistakable move. Blocking. That moment has already passed. For the first time, Henry sees the stranger's back. It is not broad, not intimidating, and yet, it carries a weight that makes it hard to move. Can you take responsibility for this? The man with the briefcase asks again. The stranger nods once. I already am. He finally lowers the phone from his ear. Then he turns the screen toward everyone. One name is clearly displayed. Henry cannot read it, but he sees the reaction. The man with the briefcase falls silent. Now, the stranger says, "It's my turn. This man is not leaving this house today, and you need to leave now." Silence stretches. Henry cannot believe this is happening. Standing behind someone whose name he does not know, yet who is clearly protecting him. One thing is certain, there is no stepping back now. The situation has moved past warnings. The collision has already begun. The house grows so quiet that even breathing can be heard. The man with the briefcase still does not move. He stands there, unable to leave, unable to step inside. Can you handle what's happening right now? He asks the stranger in a low voice. The tone is polite, but it trembles at the end. If you step back now, we can let this pass, as if nothing ever happened. The stranger does not answer. Instead, he looks around Henry's house once more. An old chair beside the table. One leg wobbles slightly. Without a word, he adjusts the chair and sets it straight. A short creak breaks the silence. Henry swallows. That chair. It was one he had fixed himself long ago, hammering in a nail. No one had ever paid attention to it. This isn't the time for this. The man with the briefcase says again. This isn't personal. The stranger slowly lifts his head. It is personal, he says. Very personal. The air in the house grows heavy again. Footsteps sound outside. One step, then another. Someone is standing just beyond the door. Henry grips the photo tighter. He tries to loosen his hand so the paper won't crease, but his fingers refuse to move. Sir, for the first time, the stranger addresses Henry directly. Henry lifts his head. Do you remember the day this photo was taken? Henry cannot answer right away. Too many days arise at once. That day, he finally says, it was a day when nothing happened. The stranger nods. That's right. That's why I remember it. He takes one step toward Henry. That was the first day I slept. Henry's eyes widen. No one knocked on the door. No one forced me out. Every gaze in the room turns toward the stranger. For months after that, mornings came to this house. Henry no longer looks down. He feels something connecting, piece by piece. I also remember the day I left. The stranger continues. I closed the door without saying a word. Henry's heart begins to pound. That day, you didn't stop me. Henry nods. I couldn't. The words spread slowly through the house. The stranger falls silent for a moment. Then he speaks very softly. Because of that choice, I am alive. It feels as if every sound in the house disappears. A radio crackles outside, but no one reacts. The man with the briefcase opens his mouth, then closes it again. He knows anything he says now will be too late. Henry looks at the boy in the photo. Then he looks at the stranger before him. The two faces begin to overlap. No name has been spoken yet, but Henry knows. This man did not come here by chance. And today is not the day. He will be forced out. From outside the door, someone asks carefully, "Should we come in now?" The stranger answers quietly, "No." With that single word, everything stops. The crisis has reached its peak. Now, all that remains is the truth, and the face it will finally show. "No." The stranger's answer holds everyone at the door in place. Silence settles over the house again. The man with the briefcase speaks, almost like a sigh. "This has gone far enough. He has no legal rights here, and neither do you." The stranger turns slowly. This time, he looks directly at the man. Rights. He pauses. "There is only one reason I can speak about that." He reaches into his coat and takes out a folded paper. The edges are worn, creased from being opened and closed many times. He lays it out on the table. "This man was my guardian." The air in the room hardens. The man with the briefcase picks up the paper. His eyes move quickly. "This is..." His words trail off. "It's a temporary guardianship record." The stranger says, "It was only for a few months. But back then, I was a child, living on the street." Henry sways slightly, as if the chair behind him is the only thing holding him up. "In this house," the stranger continues, "someone said my name. For the first time, I ate breakfast. I imagined going to school." He looks at Henry. "You never made me a promise." Henry nods. "I couldn't. That's why. I remember it." The stranger says, "The fact that you promise nothing." The man with the briefcase tries again. "That record is long closed. It has no legal effect." The stranger nods calmly. "I know. That's why I didn't come here to argue the law." He steps closer to Henry. "I never said I would come back, but I did say I wouldn't forget." Henry's eyes fill. "The day I was taken away," the stranger says, "you didn't say a word. That silence protected me." Henry's hands tremble. The photo lowers in his grip. "I didn't." His voice breaks. "I didn't do enough." The stranger shakes his head. "No, that day, you didn't hold on to a child, and because of that, the child learned to stand on his own." Someone in the room draws a quiet breath. The man with the briefcase has nothing more to say. "I'm not here to buy this house," the stranger says. "This house already gave me a life." He bows his head slightly. "Now it's my turn to protect it." Henry stands frozen. It hardly feels real, yet something inside his chest is slowly loosening. A door that had been closed for many years is finally opening. The air inside the house is different now, not relaxed yet, but the sharp edge is gone. The man with the briefcase folds the papers and places them back into his bag, carefully, as if touching them wrong might cause trouble again. "That's all for today," he says. This time, it sounds less like an order and more like a report. "We'll be in touch through proper channels." The stranger does not reply. He simply remains beside Henry. That silence is answer enough. One by one, the people near the door step back. Their footsteps move away from the house. The door opens, letting in a brief rush of cold air. Then it closes. This time, it does not break. Henry listens to the sound for a long moment. "They're gone?" he asks quietly. "Yes." The reply is short. Only then does Henry let out a breath. His shoulders drop, as if his body has finally been allowed to rest. "I'm sorry," Henry says. The stranger shakes his head. There's nothing to apologize for. He looks around. The chair, the table, the place where the photo lay. This house looks like nothing ever happened, he says. But it kept someone alive. Henry places the photo on the table with both hands. Slowly. I didn't protect that child, Henry says. I only let him stay for a while. That's the difference. The stranger replies. If you had tried to protect him, you would have held on. But you let him go. Because of that, he didn't stop moving forward. Henry lowers his head. What happens now? He asks. The house. The stranger thinks for a moment. It will take time. But today, no one is coming back. Henry nods. That is enough. Would you like some tea? Henry asks carefully. After a brief pause, the stranger nods. I would. From the kitchen, the sound of water boiling fills the room. For the first time in a long while, the house sounds alive. Henry sets 2 cups on the table. His hands still shake slightly. This place hasn't changed much. The stranger says, thank you for keeping it as it was. Henry cannot answer, but something in his chest warms quietly. Outside, the sound of engines moves farther away. The sound that once threatened the house grows smaller. Henry does not stand to watch it disappear. He sits, drinking his tea. Today has ended, and now time begins to move forward again. Morning comes. Light enters the house. It is the same window as yesterday, yet today it looks slightly different. Henry wakes up and sits there for a while. His body does not feel heavy. The anxiety that pressed on his chest last night is gone. A sound comes from the kitchen. A cup is carefully placed on the table. Henry lifts his head. The stranger is standing by the window. He looks outside, then turns toward Henry. Did you sleep well? Henry hesitates, then nods. It's been a while. The stranger smiles softly. For me too. A brief silence follows. It does not feel awkward. Too many words were spoken yesterday. On the table, there are documents. This time, they are not papers thrown down. They are neatly arranged. Henry looks at them, but does not ask. The stranger speaks first. Today, an official notice will be sent. The forced procedure has been cancelled. Henry takes a moment to absorb the words. Then, for now, no one will touch this house. Henry lowers his head. The words do not come easily. Thank you. He manages to say only that. The stranger shakes his head. I'm only returning what I received. He looks at the photo on the table. There is one thing I learned in this house. A person can live without being held back. Henry picks up the photo. Then he sets it down again. Not in the drawer this time, but on the table. He stops himself. After that day, I hid the photo because I thought I had done something wrong. The stranger speaks quietly. There is no need to hide it. That was not a shameful choice. Outside, the sound of a car stopping can be heard. This time, it does not sound threatening. It is a familiar, ordinary sound of life. Something is placed into the mailbox. Henry goes to the door and picks up an envelope. His name is written clearly on it. His hands do not shake. He places it on the table. There will be things to sort out now, the stranger says, but you can take your time. Henry looks outside. The place where people stood yesterday is empty. I think I've just been waiting here all this time, Henry says. You weren't waiting, the stranger replies. You were holding on. Henry considers the words. Then he nods. This house will stay here, and you can visit from time to time. The stranger looks surprised. Would that be all right? This house was never meant to belong to just one person, Henry says. There used to be a child here, and now there is an adult. The stranger's eyes tremble for a brief moment, but he says nothing. He simply bows his head. Then, I'll be going. He walks toward the door. At the entrance, he stops once more. Sir, Henry looks up. That day, you didn't say anything. Because of that silence, I was able to come this far. The door opens. Then it closes. Henry stands there for a while, then sits down on the chair. Sunlight falls across the photo. An old man and a boy. And the man hears now. Henry takes a sip of tea. It is warm. The house was protected, and so was a life. The story ends here, but the time inside this house continues to move forward. Thank you for staying with us until the end. We will be back soon with a better story. Your support, your likes and your follow means so much to us.